Classical wisdom says money wins elections, something Democrats are banking on as we enter the home stretch this campaign cycle. KCBD News Channel 11's Madeline Hall looks at some candidates' war chests and where that money is going on the road to the midterms.
Well, we're now 1 month away from the midterm elections on November 8th. Last week, we told you about the candidates for the governor's office. Now, campaign finance reports were due to the Texas Ethics Commission. Let's take a deeper dive into their campaigns and what they're spending to win this race. This gubernatorial race has shattered fundraising records in Texas, with more than a combined $200 million raised. Democratic challenger Beto O'Rourke outraised incumbent Republican Greg Abbott for the second reporting period. According to campaign finance reports, O'Rourke has raised $25.1 million since July. In the last reporting period, O'Rourke's campaign raised a staggering $27.6 million, which is the most a candidate for state office in Texas has ever raised in one period.
Pace of fundraising increased over the last reporting period, where we outraised Greg Abbott by nearly $3 million. We're going to have the resources to win this race.
Texas Tech political science professor Joel Siebert says that campaigns in general have been steadily raising more and more money for the past several years. He says that a majority of the money comes from a widespread network of supporters, including from out of state.
A lot of the growth is actually coming in these small donors because campaigns have realized, right, if I can get 1,000 people to give me $3, that's much bigger in the aggregate, and it's easier to ask someone for a few dollars, right, than a big check.
During this last quarterly report, Governor Abbott raised $24.8 million. Abbott's campaign, however, outspent O'Rourke's by $21 million. According to campaign finance reports, most of this money was spent on advertising.
There's a lot of money in politics, right, just in general. I think a lot of it is probably being driven by the level of competition, though. You know, again, I think there's the fear of like, well, if we don't invest here, do we lose the seat, right?
Siebert says campaign advertising doesn't necessarily affect viewer opinion, and that the ads tend to affirm voter opinions rather than sway them.
It feeds into these pre-existing beliefs, right? So it furthers my dislike of Beto, and it doesn't really change how I feel about Abbott. Nothing at the end of the day really moves all that much.
Democratic candidates also out-fundraised their Republican opponents in the races for Agricultural Commissioner, Land Commissioner, and Railroad Commissioner. In the races for Lieutenant Governor, Attorney General, and Comptroller, the Republican incumbents outraised the Democratic challengers. Siebert says, however, that it's often easier for incumbents to raise more money than their opponents in the smaller races because the candidates often have less recognition. So
much money being spent on the governor's race and discussions about the governor's race, you can also imagine a world in which those races sort of just get drowned out. And so, you know, what it means to raise more when there's so much money going into this other race is sort of unclear.
Now taking a look at the polls, Governor Abbott continues to lead O'Rourke by 7.2% as of October 8th. We'll keep you updated as the race towards the election continues. For Road to the Midterms, Madeline Hall, KCBD News Channel 11.